Hello and welcome to this unboxing video featuring the new Estes 1/45th scale Little Joe II kit. I can't recall a time in the years that I've been building model rockets, which is about 45 years now, when a release of a kit has been more eagerly anticipated. This kit was announced by Estes back in early October of 2015, just over 3 months ago, and people have been eagerly awaiting it ever since that time. It is a partial re-release of a kit that was produced by Centuri from roughly 1969 through about 1976. It was marketed as a very difficult to build kit for experienced scale modelers only, and for a kid who was about 10 years old at that time, that was enough to warn me to stay away from the kit. And I've regretted it ever since. But here we have Estes helping us relive our youth and make up for the things we didn't get to do when we were kids. Again, it's a 1/45th scale kit. I said it was based on the early Centuri kit. There have been some significant upgrades apparently, and we're going to find out what some of those are. It's very well packaged in a cardboard box. It's an end flap box. There was some online discussion of a delay in production, and I can't help but notice that this box has been double sealed. It was sealed at one point, sliced open, and then resealed. Apparently there was a quality control issue with one of the components inside the kit. The other thing I noticed that was kind of interesting is down here just above the UPC code, I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera, there's an embossed date. It says 9/18/15. Let's assume that's a production date, and that this box was originally assembled just before the announcement of the kit back in October. Other thing that's really kind of interesting, they have the original Centuri release of the kit referenced with a reproduction of the original packaging, which is kind of cool. Let's go ahead and slice the kit open. Okay, let's take a look at what we've got here. Let's start off with our directions. At first glance, it might appear that there's two identical sets of directions. Actually, there's 6 different languages, and there's 3 different languages on each sheet. The first sheet, the one that most viewers here will probably be concerned with, has text in English, Spanish, and French, while the second one has directions in German, Italian, and Czech. So you can see a little bit of the international aspirations that Estes has for some of their future products. Next, we'll take a look at the body tube. This is your standard Euclid spiral wrap tube. We've all seen them before in just about every other model kit we've ever built. Of particular interest is the fact that there's a short piece of slightly larger tube that's included with the kit. What you're going to do with this is slit it, and it's going to fit over the back end of the tube, the aft end, to augment the diameter of the tube and improve the fit of the Vacuform wrap. Next up, we're going to take a look at the Vacuform wrap. This is a really beautifully done piece of work. In particular, you should take note of these raised alignment points for each of the fin and fairing assemblies. Once this is applied onto the tube, a fin and fairing assembly will fit cleanly onto each of those, making assembly simple and alignment perfect. It's a really well-engineered solution to a very tricky problem, and Estes should be commended for this. I'm going to make a comment about adhesives here. In the directions, they make a generic reference to using a spray-on adhesive. Traditionally, that's meant the 3M Type 77 adhesives. I'm going to make a recommendation for a different product I've found called the 3M Super 90. It's essentially a spray-on contact adhesive. You spray it onto both of the surfaces that are going to be mounted. You let the solvent flash off for 3 to 4 minutes, and then you apply it almost like a contact cement. Let's take a closer look at the fin parts. These are one of the major improvements over the original Centuri release of the kit. Whereas these parts were vacuformed plastic for the fairing and balsa for the fin and detail parts, these are a single two-piece assembly of injection molded plastic for each of the 4 fin assemblies. They're so well engineered, they snap fit together. Of course, you'll want to use some type of glue. But it's just another example of the exceptional engineering that's gone into this kit. Now there are a few sink marks on this. I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera. A sink mark appears on a plastic part when the cooling cycle of the molding process isn't optimized. Different parts of the mold and the finished part will cool unevenly and sometimes create these little sink marks. They're very simple to fix, just a little bit of putty there, a little work with a sanding stick, and you can make those go away. There's a couple there. I think I saw another one up here, but they're there, but they're easy to fix. Let's take a look next at the motor nozzle assemblies that come with the kits. Again, Estes has upgraded the original kit parts from some very simply, crudely molded Vacuform to these detailed 2-part injection molded pieces. Again, they're very well engineered. They have a key to engage with the rear centering ring to ensure optimum alignment, and they're extremely cleanly molded. There's a little bit of cleanup work if you're a scale geek like I am on the inside, but nothing that a tough guy can't take care of. There's 6 of these assemblies, and they should go together very quickly and clean up and paint very, very easily. Next up we have the boilerplate command module. This is one of the several parts on the kit that is unchanged from the original Centuri release, or at least made from that original mold. It's really interesting to take a look at this. There are little tick marks in various places around the part that are designed to help you align various components later in assembly. You may want to transfer those tick marks to the inside and sand them off for accuracy's sake, but they are there and they do help with the assembly. There's a little bit of flash, a little bit of sanding is going to be required on this part, but nothing too terribly bad. There's also kind of a weird shape up here at the tip. Again, a little work with a sanding stick will help make that go away. Actually, most people probably wouldn't even notice the problem. Also new to this kit are some molded Raceway parts. In the original Centuri release of the kit, you were instructed to shape and carve balsa to these sizes and shapes to simulate the cable raceways that existed on the Little Joe II booster. This will be much simpler and in the long run will yield a much better looking part. Also included with the kit are a couple of molded launch lugs for a 3/16 launch rod that glue to the outside of the Vacuform wrap. The kit also contains 2 sets of laser cut centering rings. These lower rings here are doubled and will form the aft centering ring on the model. You'll notice they've got these little key marks here that engage with raised areas on the nozzles. There's also the opening right here for the engine hook in the engine mount opening. The upper centering rings also are doubled. These 2 pieces get glued together before they get mounted onto the engine mount. You'll notice they've cut out 6 areas for lightening this assembly as well. You also see the mark here where the shock cord will be mounted. The kit also contains a small bag of accessory parts needed to complete the model, such as the engine mount tube, standard Euclid round tube here, engine hook. This fits over the engine mount tube and retains the engine hook. 1/4-inch rubber shock cord, a pre-assembled 24-inch parachute, and a whole lot of nose weight clay. I don't know if the model actually requires that much nose weight, but they've got plenty in here. Next up, we have some injection molded parts that comprise the RCS quads and the escape tower for the model. Let's start by looking at this part here. Here you can see the lattice work of the escape tower. Unfortunately, this particular example had a broken lattice piece. Shouldn't be too tough for me to fix. These pieces here get glued together to form the RCS quads, the reaction control system quads, that feature on the outside circumference of the Apollo service module on the model. These are the nozzles for those RCS quads. Here we have the aft skirt for the escape tower, the nose cone for the escape tower, and the escape tower nozzles as well. This is kind of interesting. When I first looked at that, I thought it was just a section of standard BT5 tubing. Actually, it sleeves cleanly over BT5, so I guess we could call this a BT5 plus section. And finally, we have a couple of decal sheets for the model. The large sheet here will go over the upper section of the finished airframe tube and will define the roll pattern on the service module portion of the booster. Frankly, I don't intend to use this. I'm going to take the measurements off of this, I'm going to paint the upper section white, and then I'm going to mask and paint all those black squares onto the model. There are a few things in life more unpleasant than trying to put that large of a decal on something. I will probably use most of these decals. This section here, this is the roll pattern for the escape tower motor. These sections here with the curved ends are roll patterns for the command module, the boilerplate command module that's included with the kit. The United States and National Ensign markings are for the command module, and these large vertical United States markings will go onto the finished booster, specifically the corrugated silver part, the Vacuform wrap of the booster. Well, that brings us to the end of our video. Here you have all the parts. I'm really excited about this. I plan to jump on this kit as soon as possible. I'm going to interrupt a scratch-built Little Joe I project that I'm in the midst of, and going to move this up the queue a little bit in an effort to try to get it done as quickly and accurately as possible. I highly recommend the kit. They're available from most Estes online vendors right now and should start trickling into hobby shops here very soon. Thanks for watching.